in a club in Brixton, in South London, in the UK, where I live. And I managed to get thrown out of the club. I got into a bit of a fight with the doorman. I just told him what I thought of him. I was very concise. And he wouldn't let me back in. Despite my running and hurling myself at the door, which I thought would be a surefire method, it isn't. Just so you know. Oh, you should know what I was wearing. Because I was wearing a chainmail top. Actually, it was a chainmail front. It was a string up the back. And a mini skirt. Micro mini skirt. Not suitable for a 32-year-old. Not suitable for the middle of winter in the UK. It's a look I think my mother would describe as cheap. Anyway, this guy's ghastly. He won't let me back in. So I think I'll try his colleague to see how this goes. Hi, I'm sorry about that. I just all got a bit... Do you think I could just go back in? Oh, because my money's in there. And my phone's in there. Oh, my keys are in there. Can I just go back in? It's chilly, isn't it? No, well, that is a nice coat. Is that like a work coat, or do you wear it to go to see the films? Yeah, my coat's in there. Can I go back in on my coat? Yeah. Actually, I need a bit of a wee. Can I go for a bit of a wee? Quick. My sister was murdered. Can I go back in? No, I can't go back in. So I go and sit in the traditional spot for the drunken and tearful, the gutter. I have since then, in fact, perfected the art of getting what I want by invoking my sister's murder. And it works very well with plumbers in the East End of London. And I guess that marks the beginning of an 18-month period where I was drinking and partying in a desperate attempt to get away from myself. And the whole time I was partying, I was longing for my big sister to turn up and disapprove. Although, because our dad died when we were little, we've always had an alternative attitude to death in my family, so she probably wouldn't have disapproved at all. I mean, I don't understand why I can't talk about death. For example, at dinner parties. People seem to think that I can provoke their death by mentioning it. Whereas I think you can disempower something by talking about it. Mention your fear and it might just dissipate. So I want to engage on and hear about things that matter, death, destruction, liver disease, and most of the time, I'm just staggeringly inappropriate. About a week after Kate died, her suitcase came back from Mogadishu. It was a big, green Samsonite affair. And she lived out of it, really. For a woman who refused to carry a handbag, she had one hell of a big suitcase. And my aunt and I opened it, and Kate was asthmatic, so there were her puffers and her underwear, the book she wouldn't finish reading now, her camera and her recording equipment. Then in the middle there was this white parcel, and I realised it must be the clothes she was shot in. I didn't want to open them then. I mean, I didn't want to open her suitcase and go through her stuff at all, because I wouldn't have gone through her stuff if she'd been alive, so she must be dead. It's a few days later, on the phone to my friend M, out of nowhere, I decide I want to open this parcel, and it's a white sheet, and then a white plastic packet, and then Kate's clothes, neatly folded and with such care. Her shirt with a tiny bullet hole in the back, with blood around it, dried blood now, and her trousers with blood on them, and her walking boots with blood on them, and I have these clothes still in my flat in Brixton, and I'll keep them for as long as I keep them. I never want to turn away from how my sister died. Back in the UK, there's masses to organise for the funeral. Marquee, musicians, portaloos. And then I get a call from Roger, my sister's fiancé, and he says that 9 of his brothers and sisters are trying to get their papers to come from Kinshasa to the UK for the funeral, but they can't get them. And I know it's not the government of the Democratic Republic of the Congo that is stopping them coming. I know that it is my government, the British government, who is stopping them coming. And I'm staggered at the sheer racism that I know is unfolding. Because my South African family, all of my South African family, 15 white people, no, 14 white people, 1 black one just full up. They can come. That's not a problem. They can just walk straight in. It's back in the days when South Africans could just walk straight in. You know, no problem, they're very welcome. But these other Africans, no, they can't come. Even though they've got wives and children and businesses to run back in the Congo. No, they can't come. These guys, it's absolutely fine, yes, you come in. These ones, I don't know, what's the problem? I think maybe you're just a bit too black. And there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do to persuade my government of the goodwill of these people, that they want to come and give their brother, whose life has just been destroyed by these events, a hug and go home. They don't want to disperse to the outer reaches of the UK and clean toilets for £2 an hour for 10 years until they get their papers. in the end, 2 of them do get their papers, and some of his European family come. And the people in my home village, they're wonderful. They put our friends and family up. Even people we don't know in the village put our friends and family up. And Graham and Barbara are particularly good because they have all of Roger's family to stay. And I say they're particularly good because, well, Graham and Barbara, well, there's this language problem, you see. The Congolese family, they didn't really speak any English. And Graham and Barbara, they didn't really speak any French or Lingala. And a few days, months rather, after the funeral, Graham told me this story, that he had been in the house on his own the day after the funeral, and one of their big dogs had come tripping through the hallway with a pair of knickers hanging out of his mouth. Red, skimpy knickers. Not Barbara's knickers. And so, of course, he wrestled them away from the dog, but he said, then I was standing in the hallway by my door, holding somebody else's underwear in my hand. So he runs upstairs because he's going to go back, and he gets up there, only he doesn't know which room they've come out of. And by this stage, these infernal pants are burning a hole in his hand, so he just throws them in there and shuts the door. And nothing is said about it. Probably because nobody's got a language in common to say anything about it. People would turn up at my mum's back door. It's a shepherd's pie, you just need to put it in the oven. Oh, another shepherd's pie. Thank you. People are amazing. On the morning of the funeral, of course, I find myself on the phone to the van hire company from whom the Congolese Salvation Army Band are hiring a van to get from London out to Suffolk, and there's some problem. Yeah, I do, but I'm not in London now. Not yet. Tuesday, Wednesday, probably. Cash. No, I've got a credit card. Right. Yeah, no, I can't. I'm kind of here, no. It is really important, you know. It's for my sister's funeral. She was murdered. Doesn't work. So we have to resign ourselves to no Congolese music. I really wanted to see Kate's body. My mum didn't, but Charlie did, and so we got into this protracted negotiation with the undertaker because they were saying to me, you know, she was in Mogadishu unrefrigerated. And I said, yes, I know, but she's my sister, I don't care what she looks like. And so in the end we went, and it was a chapel-y sort of a room, and there was a coffin, an open coffin, obviously, and there was Kate. Looking just like Kate, only dead, which is what the dead tend to look like in my experience, and she's in this white satiny thing. And I can see her face and her hair and her hands. And they have done a really good job of her makeup. She wasn't really into makeup when she was alive. You're looking good now. And I got to touch her face, and her hair, and her hands. And she was cold to touch and not room temperature. You're refrigerated now. And I'm so glad I saw her. Because I know she's not somewhere suffering. She's definitely dead. The other thing I'm doing on the morning of the funeral is continuing the wrangle with my mother about what I'm going to wear. Kate had this designer evening dress off the shoulder to the floor. A beautiful green thing. A hip-hop dress, in fact. And I hadn't known about it before she died. And I wanted to ask her about it, but all I had was the dress. Obviously, I look great in it. But my mum is not happy with me wearing what is essentially an evening dress at a daytime funeral. So I put it on, and I showed Emma and Rachel, and they said, "You look stunning. We can see why your mum doesn't want you to wear it." I was like, "No!" Because I really wanted to wear it. I didn't even know why I wanted to wear it. I wanted to be colourful and life-affirming and not the least bit funereal. I wanted to be a jarring juxtaposition where people would look at me and go, "You've seen what she's wearing. Do you think she knows her sister's dead?" It was this massive, unreasonable, emotional urge at a time of many massive, unreasonable, emotional urges, and in the end, for world peace in general, and for peace in a small village in Suffolk, in the east of England in particular, I conceded and I wore something else. And 500 people come to the funeral. 2 coachloads come from the BBC in London. I think Kate would have been astonished and touched. Although maybe some of those people would be the ones who would go on during the inquest to threaten us as a family with legal action should we defame anyone from the BBC. I don't think Kate would have liked that. And the Congolese Salvation Army band turns up.
Oh, great.
It's the 5th of March, there is snow on the ground like this. And it's insane that they've got here in these cars and vans. And then when I see the cars and vans, I really can't think how they do this. But they have got here and in one piece. And my mum had been concerned that their music would be too churchy. And she's the Christian in the family. That's her word. But it was vibrant and exciting and brought us all together dancing. These people from Johannesburg and people from the DRC and people from this very small village in the east of England. And it spoke to me of Africa in my middle-class white girl from England kind of a way. And at the back of the cathedral we had this enormous Somali flag. It's blue, the white cross, and people there, they have nothing. I mean, they have no peace or security, but materially. And yet they've been so disgusted by my sister's murder that overnight they sewed this enormous flag to go over her coffin as she was airlifted out of the country. People are amazing. Oh, Paulina. I forgot Paulina. Paulina was my sister's housekeeper and really good friend of 10 years standing. And when we were clearing Kate's house, Paulina had taken nearly all of Kate's shoes, and I'd said to her why, because Paulina's got size 3 feet and Kate had size 5 feet. And Paulina said, I'm going to wear lots of socks. And so then anything that we weren't taking home to the UK, Paulina took because she could use it, or somebody in her township could use it. And I like the thought that somewhere in Johannesburg, somebody's chopping carrots on Kate's chopping board now. Dedicated to the following people who died in 2012 on account of their job. Guillermo Quiroz Delgado, freelance journalist, Colombia. Mohammed Al-Khal, freelance journalist, Syria. Saqib Khan, journalist, Pakistan. Basil Tawfiq Youssef, TV journalist, Syria. Eduardo Caballo, journalist, Brazil. And to their families,